Hey, welcome everybody to another episode here. What leadership really requires, lessons from experience, pressure, and faith. And I wanted to bring this to you and record this session because I've been going through it. um, this past, I want to say 4 weeks have been a little challenging, and I've been going through a particular journey myself in my faith, really. And it's led me to kind of realize certain things, what I was doing, in my career, personal life, ambitions that I have, like things like that. And just kind of wanted to bring this to you to kind of share my experience, share my lessons, and just hope that it can impact you, help you if you're going through something similar, and kind of provide some guidance as to what I am doing now. So one thing I wanted to share immediately is leadership isn't learned, it's forged, right? And just as I kind of explained before, man, I was I was going through it the past. Now it's probably been like about 5 weeks now. But what happened was I suffer from panic disorder. I've suffered from it for over 10 years already, and thought I had a handle on it. To be honest, it was from when I returned back from Afghanistan and deployments and stuff, and I started kind of experiencing it. I went through therapy for it. Got the help that I needed, and like I said, it had been 10 years, and thought I had it figured out. Apparently not, and it came back stronger than it originally came. It really, it really challenged me. These past like 4 to 5 weeks now, and it was kind of where I went to kind of a standstill. I was really not wanting to do a lot because I was kind of fearful. If anybody has ever gone through panic, it's almost, let me explain it to you like this so you can get an understanding. I know a lot of people deal with anxieties, right? And we've all experienced certain anxieties. Hey, I got to pay this bill. I don't have the money, right? My kid is going through this. You're kind of worried about it, right? It's just like general anxieties, right? When it goes to something of panic and what I was experiencing, it's almost like no matter what you do, it's all ending, right? That's to the level that I was feeling it, right? I truly felt like I was gonna die. I truly felt when I was having my panic attacks or when they started coming back, I was truly feeling like I was gonna have a heart attack. That's how it felt. And I was like every single like thing felt like a trigger to me, right? If I stepped outside, if I felt a weird sensation in my body, if like my body was just literally going through not even fight or flight, right? It was really just going to shut down and instant panic. And I had to kind of work myself through that. I'm still working through it, especially I kind of feel I know what kind of happened because me as a business owner, right? I could do small business consulting. I also coach individual professionals, right, on their leadership skill, their leadership ability, and their alignment with their career, with their life. Okay. It's a lot of pressure when you start something new, right? Especially a business and going through it. I'm in year and a half. I'm in a year and a half now, and it's going good right now, but it's almost where I started feeling that coming back, right? And I started feeling that pressure, even though I wasn't dealing with it appropriately when I should have been. Okay, I should have been taking breaks. I shouldn't have been kind of trying to put everything right under my control. And this is where it kind of led back to my faith. It's leading back to me really exploring my faith and what I truly was lacking. Okay, that's just plain and simple, right? I wasn't prioritizing my faith in that sense. So that's where it kind of led me back to. And like I said, I'm still going through it. I'm not finished. I probably will never be finished with it. Okay, but it's leading me to experience leadership in a different ability, in a different like standpoint, right? Not to necessarily look at it like I have to control everything, right? Because I am a very strategic mindset person, but going through that, I guess you can call it hell, right? Going through that hell really kind of showed me where I was lacking. And that was me reconnecting with my faith, my spirituality, reconnecting with God, reconnecting with scripture. Okay. Um, and I say that to say this, right? Because with the people that I've been working with the company that I'm working with, kind of just seeing it as it's coming, right? And I'm starting to pick up on little things of what leadership truly means to me, right? It's adapting for me, right? Where I had a different perception of leadership when I was in the military. I had a different perception of leadership when I was working at certain companies, right? Um, and now it's not necessarily that it was wrong. It was right for that time. It's just it's evolving now, right? My definition of leadership right now is evolving to something that I'm still trying to figure out, but I'm getting closer to it. And I feel that shift is coming because of the lessons and the hell, I guess you could say, that I'm going through. Okay. And understand leadership is from experiences, from coaching, but most importantly, it's from reflection. Okay. And I want you to, if you are going through something right now, if you are in the leadership position, and I want you to really understand it in this sense. I'm not just speaking about career, I'm speaking about you in general. So you are a leader of your life. Okay. If you are a parent, you are a leader. If you are a brother, a sister, a uncle, you are a leader. Okay. It doesn't necessarily mean just in a career aspect, okay, because you have a leadership title. That is not what I'm talking about. I am talking about in general in life, right? From your experiences, from your coaching or your essentially your development, right? What do you do to increase or enhance your leadership ability, your leadership skill, your confidence, your tenacity, right? For being a leader. I feel like this is kind of where I was drifting off was the reflection part. Okay. I do journal. That's a practice that I do pretty much every day. And one thing that I noticed during that time frame was me journaling more on what I wanted the outcome to be rather than what was going on internally with me. And I think that's what essentially led me to having those panic attacks again. And that this is why I kind of strive so much on reflecting on your life, on your journey as it is, right? From a leadership aspect, from a servant aspect, right? Right now, my journaling is very reflective on my spiritual journey. It's not necessarily on my career. It's not necessarily on what I'm doing from a coach perspective, from a business owner, or anything. It's really having to do more spiritually with how I am growing as a leader for God, right? And I want to encourage you, if you are going through any battles right now that you are fighting, right, especially if it's anxiety, want to ask you, not just looking at your experience, right? Because we can always go back and say, well, I dealt with harder times than this, right? From your experience, or you can easily gain some coaching, right? From a friend, maybe a colleague, maybe a professional coach that will tell you, hey, well, this is how you deal with it. This is a tactic that you deal with it, or this is a, psychological trick that you can deal with. And that's all great. I'm not saying that it's not useful, but I would encourage you to just kind of reflect internally right now and kind of ask yourself, like, what is your connection towards your spirituality? What is your connection towards God right now? Are you reading scripture? Are you truly living your life for a purpose, or are you living it for almost external validation, right? That's where I had been before. And this was about 7 years back, but that's where I had been before, where I was living for the job titles, living for the salary bumps and things like that. And I ended up just going through a burnout. This is something that I teach in my 6 life and career zones that I teach on my master class. But I essentially just burned myself out because I had grown out of that person that I was. And I no longer prioritize like the title, the salary. I mean, I was at a great job making 6 figures, leadership title, thought it was a dream that I had been fighting for about 7 years that I had worked for it. And it was one of the most depressing times of my life. And that's what kind of shifted me to really reflecting on, at that point, my spirituality, but also who is John? Who am I trying to be for the future me? Right. And how do I truly want to live my life? So I encourage you to just look at your leadership, what's going on in your life right now, right? And look at the experiences, right? Get advice from, or some guidance, right? From a coach, right? A friend or anything like that. But I would strongly encourage you to kind of reflect internally. Ask some hard questions like, what does your life mean to you? This is a question that I asked myself and I journaled a couple times already, was how am I fulfilling God's purpose in my life? And this is requiring me to let go of a lot of control that I thought I had. Okay. Um, it might uncover something for you if you just kind of reflect on that question and try answering it. Like I said, I've journaled it a couple times already. I'm still working on an answer, but it's apparent that I don't have control. That's very hard for me to deal with. Um, it's very hard for me to deal with, where I've always felt like I had to be in control, right? And there's a whole, rabbit hole with that. But just trying, just for me, trying to answer that question really reveals to me that I have no control of what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, right? I can't control any of that. I can control what I'm doing right now. I can control this video. I can hope that it's going to find somebody that it's going to really speak to. I mean, that's literally the only thing that I'm thinking about right now. If you're already into this, we're into this 12 minutes already. Chances are 99% of the people already logged off and stopped watching the video. And maybe that 1% of people that this truly speaks to are still listening right now. And that's my hope. That's why I'm still here. And that's why I feel like I can control what I'm doing right now and I need to do this. So I hope that makes a little sense, especially if you're feeling like I had before and you're trying to connect more with your purpose, which is also one of the career and life zones that I teach in my masterclass. But that's essentially what we're essentially trying to get to, is living a life of purpose. Okay. Understand this is change requires commitment, understanding, and love. Okay. As I went through these past 5 weeks, as I was working with a consulting client that I have, as I'm working with people that I coach, I'm understanding more and more, right? It's very simple to come up with a plan. Okay. And this is where I'm kind of going to challenge you a bit. It's very simple to come up with a plan and put that plan on paper and say that this is going to fix everything. Okay. From my experience, from what I've seen in my career as a coach, as a consultant, from what I've done as a leader myself, from what I've seen in different types of industries as a leader in leadership positions, is majority of the time people are not committed to it. And I mean true commitment, like the bad with the good, right? Don't just focus on, oh, we want to change because it's going to create a positive experience or a positive, you know, environment or anything like that, especially in the work areas. A lot of the time we kind of don't truly understand that level of commitment that it's going to take from every level, right? Especially with your level. And why I bring this up, because you may have experienced something where a company has said something like, hey, we're going to change this, right, for the company to make it better, or to make it, better for the employees and things like that, right? And some people are bought in, some people are not. Okay. If that commitment level is not there, and the understanding and the love, right, for making that change, it will never change. Okay. Love is a weird thing to bring up, right? You may be asking yourself, like, Why would I have to love the change that's going on at work? Why would I have to show that love to people at work, right? When they don't treat me like that. And this might be a deeper conversation at a later time, but I mean, let me be very cliche. What would Jesus do? Right? This is something that I'm learning myself. This is something that I'm practicing myself. I just went through a situation today, Saturday. I just went through a situation yesterday on Friday. Okay. With somebody saying some adverse things about me at the place that I am consulting. Okay. And I had to be the better person. I had to calm myself because, again, I am human, right? Anger spurred up, resentment, disappointment, like, oh, this person doesn't get it, or, whatever it may be. I had a lot of emotions going through, and I had to really take some time to myself and really calm myself down, right? And ask myself, is what I'm thinking of doing out of love or not? And it was not. So I stopped myself and I let it go. I let it go. This is extremely hard for me to do. Um, but it was something that I had to do. It was something that I had to do because if I would have reacted the way that I wanted to react, it would have just reinforced the culture that's already there, the mindset that's already there in the people that I'm trying to work with. It wouldn't have strengthened what I'm telling them to do in the sense of how we're going to embrace the change that's coming. Okay. And that's where my commitment level, that's where the understanding of why we're implementing this change and the love plays in mind. Okay. So if you're going through something, especially even in your personal life, think about it, right? A lot of us say, hey, we want to lose weight, we want to get in better health. Are you truly committed to it? Do you truly understand what you're supposed to do, what you have to do, what's going to be required of you to do? Okay, the sacrifices you're going to have to make, and are you loving the process? And I truly mean that. Are you loving the process? I know it sucks. You don't want to. How are you going to love a 5 a.m. 3 mile run or a 2 mile walk or whatever you're doing, right? It's like, yeah, I would love to sleep in. Okay, but if your journey or your goal is to grow, that's how it's done, and you have to be committed to that change. You have to be understanding of what it's going to require of you, and you have to love the process as it goes. You have to love every step of it. And this is, for me personally, this is where my spiritual journey is coming into play. This is where I am seeing, or more open to seeing, certain obstacles that I'm facing as almost like stones or pebbles that God's just like, hey, here's another stepping stone for you. Here's another stepping stone for you. Right? This is a little obstacle I'm throwing in here because I'm preparing you for something bigger. That's how I choose to look at it, and that's what makes me look at the process that I'm going through to love it. Okay. Which leads me to pressure reveals culture. And I mean not just in the workplace, but it'll reveal it in you. Okay. When it gets hard, it's going to be very easy for you to want to quit and throw in the towel. That's regardless of whether it's something going on at work, your leadership ability at work, your leadership ability at home, right? Your kids are throwing tantrums. They don't want to do their homework. They don't want to listen to you, anything like that. That pressure is going to reveal the culture that's going on there. And what I mean by culture is not just how that event is going on, but almost like what that daily event looks like, right? You may look at it in the sense of, well, this one day it was really hard because my kids weren't listening, me and the wife were arguing, work was crazy, things like that, right? Those are outside of your control, right? You can't control what's going to happen in the day, but how you respond to it, right? That's what's going to reveal that culture. And that culture is more on you. Okay. How are you implementing or sustaining your emotions, your attitude, your feedback to others, right? Just because my wife's mad doesn't mean I have to be mad. Just because she's upset about something doesn't mean I have to be upset about something. Perhaps I can help her. Maybe I can't right now. That's my wife tells me all the time, and you might be familiar with it if you're a man or a husband watching right now. Where my wife has said to me, she's like, "I don't need you to fix it. I just need you to listen." Right, and this is where This is what I'm talking about with this concept of pressure reveals culture, right? When it gets tough, right, at work, you'll see whether the team is going to break down or not. And it goes the same at home. Okay. It goes the same for you. Like, regardless, you're the leader. If you're the leader in both, right? Whether you're a husband or a wife at home, whether you're a leader in the workplace, or whether even if you're in the team environment, right? You still carry some kind of leadership ability, some kind of leadership strength. Doesn't, like I said before, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're a leader only because you have that leadership title. Okay. We all lead in a certain aspect, right? And that is, this concept is, how are you leading with your attitude? How are you leading with how you're going about doing things, right? Are you putting on a smile throughout your day? And I'm not saying fake it, right? Generally, you can acknowledge, like, yeah, this sucks, but what am I going to do? Complain the rest of the day? Am I going to have a frown and just be angry at everybody that I talk to today? Or can I just be like, hey, I'll put on a smile, right? I remember, I remember an instance where we had to fill sandbags in the army, and people were like, man, this sucks. And we were out there for a while, right? And it just kind of hit me after a while, because I was taking on that persona of, man, this sucks, right? Which made the event even more like dreadful, until I finally just kind of put it on myself, and I was like, well, it's like I'm getting paid to work out, man. I was like, I'm getting a great workout in right now. Like, yeah, it sucks. It's hard. Working out is hard, right? My back, my shoulders were killing me, my arms were killing me. We were doing this deployed, so it was in Iraq that we were doing this. So it wasn't a pleasant experience, but it revealed the culture, right? It revealed how I was upholding that culture. It revealed, am I going to add on to this, the animosity in this event, or can I flip it around? And it just so happened, when I started doing that, just started cracking jokes, whatever. And we all went really dirty, really sweaty to go get dinner after that. And we all had a pleasant time after that. So that's where I encourage you, just check your attitude, check how you are influencing the culture, whether it's at work or at home. Okay. This is more for my small business owners. It's something that I've experienced consulting, and it's a lot. Let me say it like this: hire for character, train for skill, right? It is a lot harder to untrain bad habits than to train good habits. Okay. Once a culture is set in their ways, and it goes back to that commitment towards change, understanding, and love. Okay. If you have employees that are not willing to change, that want to maintain the same structure, and you're keeping them on just because they've been with you forever, right? Are you truly committed to that change? Are you truly understanding of what type of change you're trying to make in your business? And are you doing it out of love? You may think that you are doing it out of love by keeping them on, giving them a job, right? Have you had that tough conversation with them? Have you set that precedent to them that, hey, this is the new way? This is the way we're going to go. And I look at it from a standpoint of, if somebody's doing a bad job, or if somebody is lacking in their knowledge, in their skill, in their wisdom, whatever it may be, like in their role, essentially. And this is more for work. It can be for home, but this is more for my small business owners. But you're not doing them any favors by allowing them to stay there, and you're not doing them any favors by not challenging them to grow. You're gonna expect, and your expectation is that the entire company grows, but that person or those people. And what's going to happen is others are going to be committed to it. They're going to be understanding and possibly excited about the changes that are coming. They're going to love that. And then you're going to have some people that don't want to. And guess what's going to happen is those people that are in love with that change are going to slowly start questioning your leadership ability. They're going to start questioning the leadership ability of the leaders that are in place that are supposed to be implementing that change. And eventually it's just going to dwindle down, and nothing's going to happen, because you're not truly committed to the change. And by committed, I mean you might have to let some people go, especially people that don't want to change, that are not committed to it. don't understand why they're trying to do it, or don't love the process of it. You're not doing them any favors by keeping them on there. You're actually hurting them and preventing them from growing into their next ability, into their next talents. And perhaps they don't want to. Not everybody wants to grow past what they already are. That's fine. That is not your problem, nor is it your responsibility. Okay. Somebody wants to grow, by all means, I will help them grow. I will be there for them, to push them, to pull them, to do whatever I can do in my power to help them. But if they don't want to do it, it's, what's that old saying? You can lead a horse to water, you can't make them drink, right? Same concept. Okay. So for my small business owners, just consider that: hire for character, train for the skills that are needed to do that job. Okay. Depending on what the job is, right? Obviously, you're not going to hire an engineer that doesn't have no skill, but you get the point. It's kind of common sense. All right. And lastly, this one's very bold, and I didn't want to scroll it because it's very important. Learn as a leader when to step up or when to step back. Okay. There's a couple situations that I've had in consulting. There's a couple situations that I had in the people that I'm coaching right now, where I had to like lead a conversation, more specifically for the people that I'm coaching, like one-on-one coaching. Um, that's more specific to trying to lead the conversation for them, right? And that's fine. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, right? It's just they lack the experience. Not at their fault. They're learning, and they're willing to learn. So I'm teaching, right? But I had to lead that conversation. Once I started leading it, though, I need to understand, and this is something that I've done, is just step back and listen, see where it leads. Even at times, you might have to, I'm gonna say this, as a leader, sometimes you might have to keep your mouth shut. Okay. That might sound contradictory to what a lot of the other coaches say, or other experts say and stuff, like, hey, voice your opinions, voice your perspective, and things like that, right? The reason I say that is because depending on the outcome that you're trying to get to, or depending on the individual that you are coaching, right? If I continue to feed that knowledge to him, or the wisdom, right? If I continue like, hey, this is your next step, this is your next step, this is your next step, right? How is that person ever going to develop that thought process, that problem solving thought process, that general curiosity, like little things like that, right? I'm not saying never do it, but pick and choose when you can. And I've had an instance like that recently, where I was working with an individual client. They were telling me about an issue that they were having, and just kind of asking certain questions. And I asked like about 2 to 3 strategic questions right in the beginning of our conversation, where it kind of invoked him to like, oh, okay. Oh, I thought about this. Oh, okay, now I can take that. And based off your question, like, he started stacking up answers, which led him down a completely different road where he started. And after that, I just shut up. I just listened to what he was saying. And even though I had other ideas in my head based off of what he was saying, I was like, you know what? Let me allow him to marinate those ideas. Let me allow him. We meet once a week. So I was like, you know what? Come back next week and I'll see, hey, those ideas that you have brought up, did you think anything further on them? Did you, explore more in detail of them and things like that? So that's an opportunity. And that's an example of when to step up, but also knowing when to step back. Okay. Allow your people to grow. Okay. I'm not saying you never have to step up again, but allow them to grow, allow them to work their brain, man. It's a muscle. They have to work it. Okay. And by you just giving them, we already have this phenomena of ChatGPT, AI, everything like that. And a lot of people are getting their answers from there. But if we don't allow people to come into their own way of thinking, and you're always feeding something to them, right? Eventually they're just going to think like ChatGPT or AI, right? You want to allow them to truly just develop their own way of thinking, their own way of, how does my brain problem solve, right? My brain problem solves different than other people. Some other people are faster than I am. Some are slower than I am. Some come up with way more creative ideas than I've had. Like I've had those experiences, but it's just learning to when to step up and when to step back. Okay. And if you want to learn more, you can visit my website is professionalpurpose.com. Thank you for just listening in. If you made it all 30 minutes in, thanks for listening in. And I hope that this video finds those leaders in situations where they truly need to take a step back. This video was more dedicated to just kind of lessons and how they're hitting the heart right now for me. How I may be talking very calm right now, but I'm a very passionate person and these are very passion driven topics for me, right? Change requiring commitment. I can talk very passionately about it for a long time, right? Especially going through the experiences that I've been going through, that I've seen others going through, and then just my experience right now in general. And I'm calm right now because I want you to truly hone in on the reflection piece of this entire video. The piece that I want you to take, I don't care if you watch this 50 times, right? In like 1 minute segments or something, or 45-second segments, right? I don't care. Stop it when you feel like, hey, that what he said right there, that was an interesting topic, or that was an interesting, perspective. Stop the video and just reflect on it. How does it apply to your life? How does committing to change apply to your life? How does you going through what you're going through right now? Are you being forced as a leader or not? Are you going through pressure right now? Is there people, if you're a small business owner, is there people that, are skilled but don't have the character to fulfill that vision that you have of your business coming up, right? Is the person that's guiding you right now, you might have a coach, you might have a guide or a mentor right now. Are they truly letting you step into your own, or are they constantly filling you up? Right? I want you to think about those things and just take a step back. Like I said, grab your journal, watch this video over and over if you want, and little segments and stuff like that, and just journal whenever you hear something that kind of stands out to you. I appreciate you tuning in, and we'll see you next time.